Welcome to my channel and welcome to coloring, well, this little beauty, which was drawn by Teresa Goodridge, released as a Mother's Day coloring page, which I thought was very fitting. I'm doing this with a marker base, and then I'm going to go over that with pencil. So these will be my markers, and probably for that outer line, probably use gold. I'm going to start with the background. I'm not too familiar with like what is in what set, so I don't know if there's a different color you could choose, but I'm pretty sure that this light blue is going to look quite lovely. Just going to have to make sure that my head doesn't get in the frame. Guess we're not here for that. So this page is by Teresa Goodridge. I have a lot of her books. I just love her work. And if you check my socials, you can confirm that I have colored quite a few of these already. Well, not quotes. I don't usually do words. This is probably the first time coloring words. So, oh, there's a first for everything. Now, initially, I was not going to color the letters and those little swirls because I want to make those look like gold. But I'm thinking maybe not everyone wants to do the pencil thing as well. Maybe you just want to color along with markers. And if I don't color it, then, well, you'll be stuck with white areas. And we don't want that. Now, this page was released, I think it was in 2020 for Mother's Day. So I have looked, and I don't think it's in a book. But if you want to color along, you can find it on my Facebook group. That's where I'll be sharing this. And so that is part of that rose. By the way, the link to the Facebook group is, of course, in the description. So this is a freebie, which means I think I can share it. Now, I printed this on mixed media paper because, well, I will be using mixed media. I'll be doing markers and pencils. Other than that, I don't really have a large collection of paper. I'm not a paper collector, as it were. So I have this, I have marker paper, and other than that, I have sketchbooks. So this is the Canson Mixed Media Imagine. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I don't hate it, so I use it. And I also flipped the page to the side because I got my mom a gift. And I don't know, I wanted to add like a card to it. And well, the gift is rather big. Now, I didn't want to make this A4 because I figured that would be a bit too big. Just so I just flipped it to the side. So now it's basically A5. Which also means I have a lot less to color. Alright, so now we want to make it so it doesn't get too streaky. I'm going to go in here and go up. And I will be going over it with pencil. And I guess normally when you do this marker background, you don't really have to be as precise. But the background I'm probably going to be leaving blue for the most part. Should also probably remind my mom not to put it out. Like actually put it on display, because markers are not the best when it comes to just keeping their color. It fades pretty quick. But I didn't pick this for her to frame and put on the wall. I mean, if she wants to do that, then well, I'm not going to stop her. That would be silly, but, you know, a lot of people aren't aware that the colors are going to fade pretty quick, and that would just be a waste. So, you know, if you are going to color it and give it to your mom or whoever, because of course I'm doing this for Mother's Day, but you can just attach it to any gift or color it at any random moment. I mean, it says love. There's no specific days for loving a loved one. You can do that all year, every year. But, you know, you might want to add the heads up that, you know, if they do put it on display, then well, unless you use one of those UV protecting framey thingies that is UV glass, I think, then the colors are just going to fade. I had swatch sheets out, and that was for like a month tops. They weren't even in the direct sunlight, and yet they faded. So, especially reds, they seem to fade very quickly. Red is just one of those colors. I remember back in the day when you had a red car, it would just turn pink. Nowadays, it's not so much. So this is one way to make me seem very old or very active on the internet. I'm sure you can Google faded red car or something. I don't mind if it's gonna be a little cloudy, because I mean it's the background. I also have no intention of turning this into some artistic masterpiece. I don't want it to look okay. It's just a card that I'm gonna add to my gift. So I actually had to take a little break from my Kincaid colorings. So it's not gonna be like that. I don't know if you have seen those videos. But yeah, this is gonna be more simple. Suppose you can also make it even smaller when you print it, but as I'm coloring this, I feel that this is about the right size. I'm just gonna fill in these closed off bits. These are already sectioned off, so I like that. This is also why I started at the background. So I might make this a two-part video, so that if you just want to do this with markers, then well, you'll be done after this. I mean, the background's going to take up the most time. I might just speed that up. I mean, you get the idea, right? It's the background. Oh, that is looking, I feel it's quite lovely. I love this. That do turned out pretty good. Now, next up, for these swirls in the back, kind of hoping that I'll be able to still make it look like gold. Normally I just do that with pencils, not really with markers. Plus I'm only using one color, just that base layer. So I'm not sure how it's gonna look. Initially I planned to not color it so that I could just do it with pencil and get it, well, get it right the first time, I guess. Then I thought not everyone is gonna want to also do this with pencil, and then you'd be stuck with, well, white swirls, which doesn't have to be ugly, but I figured I might as well just color it. Also, if I don't have time to actually do the pencil part, then that's okay too, because we've already colored it. I might just decide that it looks good with just markers. Who knows? Alright, next up is that green. And now into the red. I'm just start with all these tiny hearts, because they are a bit of a challenge. The marker likes to flow around on the paper. Normally I would use a different color, but because we are going to go over this with pencil, I'm just going to make those roses the exact same color as the hearts. There's no real reason why they can't be. Time to do the letters. And that is it for the markers. Now I said I didn't want to make it too complicated, so that means I won't be doing that. I just want to add a little oomph to it. That's how I like to call it anyways. So it's just adding a little bit of shading, really. I put that underneath because, well, it helps me know where my frame kind of stops. Also, I mean, it prevents the cutting mat from getting all smudged up by markers. Though it's a cutting mat, so it's kind of what it's for. So I'm really not trying to create some timeless masterpiece. Because I mean, for me, it's just an added thing to the original present. Now, just by adding a little pencil, you can just see how that transforms. I'm gonna have to see in editing if there's parts of this that I could maybe speed up. I mean, I'd say this is a nice way to get some quick results. No, I decided to start with the flowers because they're like so lovely. It's like if you are going to attach this or give it as is, you want these flowers to really look good, and kind of keeping in mind that you might be a little late, maybe. Yeah, and some people are like, whoa, Mother's Day. Really? Was that today? Well, I'm kind of hoping that with this, you can still get her something. Not sure if it's really picking up nice on camera, but look. So that is one color of marker and just one pencil. It's just a very easy way to bring your coloring pages to life. I'm just kind of coloring close to the lines. I'm not even trying to create a realistic shadow. I'm just trying to create some gradient, I guess. Now, here close to that leaf, I am gonna, well, draw a line. But other than that, I'm just lightly going over it. And closer to the lines, I'm gonna go a little bit dark. Because again, I'm not trying to create a masterpiece. That's rose number 1. Basically done. I mean, it looks kind of nice, doesn't it? I do want to go over that just very lightly. I mean, that way it looks like I've done everything with pencil. And if you know what you're looking for, then you know that there's marker, but I feel like that looks good. So pretty much doing the same on that one now, which I might want to speed up because we've already seen it once. I'll basically be doing the exact same thing here. I think that's about it for the green. Let's pick a nice red. I think I want to start with the tiny hearts. This will be the 225. Now, for the most part, I feel like the shadows are put everywhere anyways. It's kind of like the light's coming sort of from the front. So I'm going to just put the shadow where I want it to be. That'll be it for the hearts. You can't really see because of my lighting, but it does add a little to it. Some show up better than others. This one's kind of light still. See if I can add a little bit more to that. The lighter the base color is, the better it's going to show up. And it's not, I can move my light out of the way. Well, it does show up a little. So for the roses, I have the 263. That was giving me too much trouble, so I switched. Renewed it. It's going to start with this rose. And so far, time-wise, I feel like this is going pretty darn good. So that dark color really goes on the, well, shadow parts, like close to the lines, the inner lines. That's where I feel it should be. And then I'm just going to sort of fan out into something lighter. See, because now we're going to grab the 225. I mean, basically the roses were already kind of good as they were. This light is still annoying me. That might just be better. With the reflection, also I can see it in the corner of my eye, so actually having teary eyes because the lights are so bright. So now I should just double check. This is kind of what I'm after. I feel like it needs a little bit more on the bottom here. But just 2 colors, because the third, well, you already have the base red done with the markers. Now I'm not getting a squeaky clean result. So it's a bit scratchy here and there's some lines, but I am okay with this. I mean, you can blend it if you want. But like I always say, it's your page, your rules. And this for me wasn't exactly planned. I wasn't planning on doing a coloring like this. It was just kind of popped up as an idea to attach to an actual present, kind of like a label, but different. And it will be given directly, so it's not going to be like underneath the Christmas tree. We have to write their names on there so people know which gift goes to who. Let's just look at that. 2 colors, just 2 pencils, and it's really not taking up a whole lot of time. It's just kind of what I set out to do. I just wanted to make it like a quick but effective, I think, because that's what this is. Because it's not going to look like he did it quick. But that is what we're doing. I mean, time-wise, if I would have done this with pencil, just pencil, would have taken so much more time. Because now, I mean, all the paper is gone. There's no white underneath. But if we go closer, you can still see the marker underneath. But it looks so much better. So this is what you can do when you just mix them. Now I'm aware that probably not all paper is going to be as ideal for this. And this is mixed media paper, so I'm guessing, well, if any paper is going to work for mixed media, it's going to be mixed media paper, but I'm not really into paper. I mean, I get it. You can get better results. I know that. I'm not going to be here and say that paper choices don't matter. It's just if you decide not to care about that, that's okay too. I mean, with coloring pages, I usually color them in the book or on the paper that was in the book, because you can just have like a perforated edge, so you can just take them out of the book. But yeah, I am usually just using the paper that it was printed on. So nothing fancy. And, well, I feel like they still turn out okay, so it is not just the paper. But if you are going to start off believing the paper is bad, then the end result will be too. And that'll be rose number 1. Man, it looks so different from that, right? I'm gonna go straight in and add some highlights. Normally I do that like way at the end, but I just want to see what it's gonna look like if I do that. Guess that kind of makes it look wet or something. I mean, roses, they are not shiny, are they? But my page, my rules, so. You can do this with a gel pen as well. I personally am not a fan of gel pens. But, you know, if you are, then you use a gel pen. What works for me might not work for you, and the other way around. And that's okay. Otherwise, we'd all be doing the same thing. We'd all be the same kind of people. And the world would be a boring place. I am definitely not here to tell people what to do. I'm just showing people how I do it, and, well, you do with that what you want. This is a very shiny rose. It's okay to go a little overboard. More than a little. You can do the same with these hearts, by the way. Just get a little bit of oomph in there. Should have started on that side though, because now I actually have to wait for it to dry. Or work at a weird angle, I'll just do that. That is looking rather nice, if I do say so myself. Now, I could do the same for those leaves, but I feel like that would be overkill. I'm just going to complete these hearts for now. See, just a little splash of color on top of your marker. I'll get you a long way. So now on to that second rose. Also adjust the lights a bit and the camera. Now, I am assuming that I'll probably turn most of it into a bit of a speed coloring, just to save some time. Because I'm basically doing the same thing over and over and over. So once you get it once, then, I don't know, the second and third time around, and everything that follows, it's just kind of the same. So far, I am rather happy with it. I feel like it's turning out pretty good. I also feel like maybe I should have done this one green, but meanwhile, it's kind of noisy outside, so I guess we might just speed this up a bit. did that with the other one, and it did turn out pretty good, so I want more highlights. I think that looks good. Needs a little more highlights over here at some points, because it feels like there's no white over here. A bit of an empty area, but that looks good. For the next bit, which is gonna be, I should do the letters, because I feel like, you know, if we're gonna go in order in what's important, then the letters really are. I have a bundle of colors where this is the 176 Van Dyke Brown. I have the 283 Burnt Sienna. This is the Burnt Ochre 187. This is the 182 Brown Ochre. Yes. Then I have the Naples Yellow 185 and the 107 Cadmium Yellow. Well, I do think I'm going to actually add a very, very, very dark brown, which is probably going to be dark sepia. That means I'm going to start with the dark sepia. So yeah, we were going to do the letters first, so I'm not sure I really need the dark sepia, just these overlapping bits, although it's a bit confusing here and there, but I'm just very little. Just to really make sure that we can see that there's a shadow there, because there's going to be a lot of colors involved. Again, I didn't want to do a marker base layer for this, because I like to do my gold colors with just pencil. But in case people colored along and were only using markers, I decided to do a, well, marker version first. Now, I haven't really tried coloring gold in quite a while, so this should be interesting. But as you can see, I'm using very little of this. It's not like I'm really going in there. Now, normally I'd be picky about where I put my shadows, but in this case, I don't care if the shadows actually sort of make sense. So, you know, I will probably do videos in the future where the shadows actually make sense, but this is not going to be that. Alright, now I'm going to go into that Van Dyke Brown. I should probably pick a piece and stick with it. Wait. So this is interesting. Just putting it on that side. Forgot a little bit. I feel like my head is in the screen constantly. As long as it's not in the way of what I'm doing, guess I'm gonna have to live with it. Because that's the point where people find out I am not just hands, I have a head too. Now again, I haven't done coloring gold in quite a while, so let's just see what I make of it. Especially with the marker underneath, it's not working with me right now. Let's just put it like that. It's not necessarily against me, but I'm not sure that it's helping either. It's debatable. Now, I did say I was not going to turn this into some masterpiece, so I will try not to do that. Which means the gold can look off. That's okay. Again, I'm using this as kind of a label to put on the actual gift. So, looking at it that way, I'm already putting a whole lot of work into it. Could have just printed something. And that's it. I still want it to kind of look okay, but I am just not that picky. I mean, you can sort of see how this is maybe already going somewhere. So now into burnt sienna. Now I know there's many ways to color gold. This is just kind of the thing that I decided to do this time. I'm sure I've written down how I did it last time, but yeah, like I said, this is kind of just a quick coloring, so I want it to look good, but I can't be bothered to make it look perfect. And I'm sure that whoever you give it to, like as a label, unless that of course is a very picky art critic or something, but I'm sure you'll be forgiven if it's not perfect. It's the thought that counts, or so I'm told. So now I'm into that, what is it, no, burnt ochre. Can't really tell anymore, but 187, which I can't really see either. So that's just coloring handicapped, I think. We have like an extra challenge. Well, I feel like it's already kind of going the right way. I was going to do the swirls in the background first, but again, I want to make it so that if you need just a quick label and you want to quickly color it, then let's just start with the things that are almost prominent on this page. For me, those were definitely the roses. That's kind of why I decided to go with this. I don't know what it is, but I just love roses. I did not put any of the previous colors in there, I think, so I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm not sure how I forgot that, but easily distracted. For those of you who know me, I do that a lot. Random hair. Haven't had that before. Oh well, where was I? I like where this is going. Personally, I probably would have liked it a little more if I hadn't done the yellow first. but we're going to highlight anyways. And the good thing about this is that if we do kind of miss the color here and there, like don't layer enough or don't apply enough pressure, then it doesn't matter because they're yellow underneath. So I guess it's just makes it easier to get away with mistakes. Alright, so we have that. Now I want something over there. So this is that burnt sienna. I don't know how this is going to look, but I feel like I should do this. Because it was just a bit simple over here. I feel like this is like the right place to add some shadow. So here's what we have so far. We're almost there. So now I'm going into the 185, which feels a little bit short for me. And that is not actually the part where you hold it. It's like it needs something to rest on. I have really crappy pencil extenders, so, but they work. Is this the 183? Yes. Wait, 185. I'm just going out with calling random numbers. And there's so many videos on how to color gold, and they're all so different. But I feel that for now, this will just do. Wait. Can we use this first? Wondering why that transition wasn't as smooth as I wanted it to be. This will help. That's why we grabbed that brown. Not that really matters over here, but just notice I was putting a lot of pressure to get it to sort of, well, mix and match. I feel like this was the right choice though, going for the, well, call it the more complete gold look. Because I could have just colored everything yellow. This is more just me going, I know how to do this, so I kind of want to. Now it's the yellow. Let's just redo these bits. Not sure on how I want to do the top part yet, like the part that is facing us. Could just go in with my Posca for that. And there'll be a lot of Posca, but that would look awesome though. Very shiny, but we'll add a little bit to it. I think I just might do that. So now I'm going into this one, but I am starting to change my mind. Because I grabbed 185, and I feel like, I mean, that is lighter, but I might want to go to 5, which is this one. Let's just do that. Let's just see how that turns out. Ooh. That is a very fierce kind of yellow. I like it. I am liking. Just kind of debating what I'm going to do with the top now, but I mean, I could just do the same and kind of make the light come on. I don't know where. I mean, here's going to be the top, so I'm thinking on the left side. That means I'm not going to be using the dark sepia. I will be going into the Van Dyke brown. Let's just start with this middle bit and see how that goes. I feel like I don't really have to go all that dark. Into that burnt sienna. Now, let me just check the camera. Yeah, it does make sense if the light part is over there. That just means I'm going to have to do that for all the letters, but they do seem to be going away. Or at least that's kind of what I created, I think. It might just be my shading. But again, you know, I'm not too concerned about shading and everything. 187. I just wanted to look sort of gold, which of course isn't really going to work if the shading is going in every single direction. But I don't care. I really don't. This is kind of like just, again, this is not the gift. This is what I'm going to be putting on the gift. That is the 182. So I guess if you want to see me do something that is actually the gift, I could do that. Right now into, I was not using, actually had that, the wrong yellow still lying around. It's just confusing. Let's just see how this turns out. Yeah, that looks okay to me. Guess we'll just keep going then. Yeah, it's not really going, there's no real dark spots on this, so that's good. I'm just sort of figuring it out. Like, how can I make it look okay-ish? Because, I mean, for the most part, I won't be using these browns. Yeah, that does sort of look gold. I feel for the rest of it, I'm only going to use these because I'll just be doing this shading with this now, nothing else. Because the area is becoming too small. I don't want to be cramming too many colors in there. But if I don't add a few, then it's just going to be yellow. Yeah, I thought I was just going to do that with the Posca, but I think this is turning out rather nice. I'm not too worried about how well it blends or not, because again, I'm just kind of, I was supposed to make this very easy. You just blop it over the marker kind of coloring. So yes, I can do way better on my gold, but I don't know. It just feels better than what I had, well, a bit ago, before I added all these different shades of yellow and brown. That's good enough for me. And this is not so much about the coloring. This is more about, I don't know, creating a tag to put on my gift. So, I don't know, I mean, if people want me to really try on this, do let me know, because I can do that. It's not like this is a page from a book. So, you know, I can print it again. Guess there's a nice lesson in here for me too. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. And that it can still kind of look okay. Because I don't feel like I'm really trying. I mean, the shading is probably off, and I don't care. I feel like that doesn't matter all that much in this anyways. Normally I'd be sharpening a lot more. Now I'm kind of like, well, I can still use it. So I am a bit careless, I guess, with this. Just good. That's what coloring is about. That's what it's also about anyways. I actually grabbed a bigger Posca for this, because this can use quite a bit of white. So I can use that tiny one, or I could just blop in the white. Not everywhere, because this point is apparently not good for that all. Well, apparently. Clearly. But it'll get me quite far. Yeah, that'll do. A little bit over here. I feel that looks pretty good. So I guess that means we could just speed up the other letters. So that's about it for the letters. I mean, they look like they're supposed to be gold. So same for these. That lighter yellow is actually gone now because those swirls are more in the background. So I can just go darker on those. And again, I just want to make it look like it's gold. Doesn't have to be convincing. Not for me, anyways. I will probably do a future video with gold in there. I'm pretty sure actually, because a lot of the coloring books that I have, well, I kind of know my books, of course. I did buy them to really color in them, and more of them have, well, a gold element to them. I do really want to make sure that my points are a bit sharp. Not because I want to make this oh so pretty, but because it's a tiny area, so it just makes it easier to color, really. And other than that, there's no real reason behind it. Just find it easier to do fiddly bits with a sharp point. I'm gonna add some highlights there too. That's basically a lot of highlights. Guess you can kind of hide mistakes with that too. You highlight it and get that extra oomph to the page. Just makes it look better. I mean, I've been kind of cheating with the coloring a lot. Making it easy on myself. Doing a poor job here and there. But you add a little bit of highlight and it just looks better. So now I'm just going to go color by color and just go around the page, I guess. That'll be easier for me. I'll probably be speeding that up too, because, well, we've seen it there. Oh, that looks not too bad. Now I feel like I want to add some highlights to the leaves as well. Why not? And probably, what was it? The stick, the nut flower part of the rose, anyways. Oh, that looks very highlighted. I like it. I like it. It's kind of nice taking a break every now and then. You know, we'd be speeding it up, of course. But real time, I still have to do it. Was that the only thing I wanted to adjust? Yeah, pretty much. So, for the blue, I picked two. I have the Prussian Blue 246. And I have the bluish turquoise 149. Let's just see how that goes. Let's just start somewhere. Thinking at the top. Now, so far, it seems like the light is sort of coming from that side. Now, I decided that most of this is like tilted. That's the way I felt anyways. Because they do kind of look that way. So the shadows are going to be, well, mostly on the left. I could just put it like underneath. I'll just start on the left and then see if I also want to add shadow on the right. That seems like a good solution for now. I'll just start over here with that Prussian blue. And then I'll just see if that looks good enough, or if I also want to add a little bit to the other side. Now, I do remember saying that I don't really care. Also, it seems like I kind of made the light come from, well, up, so there will be shadows underneath as well. But yeah, I said that I didn't really care about the shadows, but I don't, not as much as I usually would, but it does kind of help to come up with a plan to kind of figure out where do I feel the shadow is coming from? Or, well, the light is coming from and where the shadow is going to. Either way, figuring things out, it helps. I mean, it's basically all over the place, so I do feel it might just be better to get shadow on both sides. Well, we'll see. I feel like my cat just went weird in the background. They do that. I have two. And lucky for me, they haven't figured out that it could both be sitting at the door meowing. That'll be something. It's my background music, basically. Alright, how does that look? Well, it looks kind of okay already. I mean, on the camera's kind of far, but I feel like it would actually look nice to put it on both sides. But let's just finish what we started first. I mean, I'm basically coloring the entire background with this bluish turquoise, but really lightly. Some kind of, I came to call that a bit of a wash, so I guess if you do put it on display and the colors fade, then you still have a bit of that blue on top, which is not going to be enough to actually bring it to life. Because again, that marker is going to fade if you actually display it. So if you are gifting it, you might want to keep that in mind, because that would be just a bit of a shame, wouldn't it? Alright, so this is what it looks like now, but I feel like I should just add the shadow on both sides. It actually kind of makes it easier, because that just means you have to draw lines around everything. Stop thinking and just draw lines. It doesn't have to be an overly dramatic shadow either. I mean, this color is a lot darker than the initial color we used with the marker, so it's basically creating a bit of a shadow without effort. Well, without much effort anyways. And I'm just going to go over that lightly with the bluish turquoise. It's funny how easy I forget what color I just used. The lighter one. Because just doing that very lightly kind of gives that vibe as if you colored the whole thing with pencil, which of course you didn't. You used a marker base trick. And for those of you who are coloring along on my Thomas Kincaid, which I kind of had to plan, well, I had to plan this around that because I really want to keep that schedule going. And for those of you who are also coloring along on that, you will know that this is done quick. And you will also now noticed that I'm not always as nitpicky. I mean, I love being nitpicky. I like to get things just the way I want them, but with this one, it was just supposed to be, well, it was supposed to be different. This is just supposed to be an add-on to a present, like a little personal tag. So, I mean, I want it to be colored sort of right, but it doesn't have to be perfect. But I feel like this gives off a certain vibe. Now, what I could do is go in there and blend it a little, but I'm not really the blender kind of person. So I feel like this is, yeah, I mean, this top part is kind of off, but we can fix that. It was a little scratchy. But just look at that. It just brings it to life even more. And time-wise, I mean, for those of you who are not familiar with the Disney colorings I'm also doing, the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, I'm pretty sure I'm at least 40 hours on that. So yeah, this is quick. This is really quick, especially because it's a bit repetitive. Because I mean, what we're doing here, we'll be doing over there and there. It's just, which means I could just speed it up, which, I don't know, now might actually already be a good time to do that. So, let's do it. Now, I'd say that's not bad. I did go a bit with a thicker line with the hard and some points of the letters. Just I'm noticing that my storage is almost full. So that means I'm going to have to fix that. And, well, I guess we're going to go into another transition. Alright, it should be fixed now. So, it's going to go straight back in. is not bad, if I do say so myself. But I do feel like that background, I don't know, it could be more. So I'm just gonna blend it a little bit. See what that does. Because it's a light layer, so that means it should be very blendable. And it is, that is good. I mean, that is going to make the edges a little more, well, harsh. But that's okay. See what that, I mean, that does make a difference. This is just a Q-tip, nothing special. And you can use all kinds of things. And, well, you have to figure out if it leaves a layer on the paper, or this is just the Q-tip. It is not going to leave any stains or weird smells, or it's just a Q-tip. And again, I am not really into blending. I'm not sure I mentioned it in this, but I mentioned it somewhere. Suppose you could just use paper towel as well. I would say preferably not your finger. Clean cloth, that'll probably work too. As long as it's nothing greasy and, well, soft. And you could go for blending stumps and whatnot, but this works. For big areas, I mean, it works. You can already see the difference. Because it just takes away a little bit as well. I guess the best way to describe it is just the pigment that is kind of loose on the paper. You kind of move that around, I guess. You're just moving pigment around. Q-tip is picking it up and just spreading it around evenly, without the need for a gas mask or whatever is required with solvents. So, yeah, just the Q-tip. And since, well, you get the idea by now, guess what I'm gonna do? I am just gonna speed it up, because we get it, right? Move Q-tip over paper. Yeah, you've got this. And just like that. Kind of smooth. I really love that. Right, out the line on the outside. I said I was going to do that with gold, and yeah, I still think I should do that. So that'll be the Posca gold for me, because that actually leaves a bit of a shine. But I guess if you don't have a Posca gold, and you could try one of your metallic pencils. I never use these really, and I tried this for I think one of those outer edges once, but I don't use them. Alright, let's pick a side. I do like to work in like a line, so this means I'm actually going to be turning the page. Mine seems to be starting off a little watery. that's okay. I mean, it's the outer line, so I guess it doesn't have to be perfect. But I always do this last. It's a finishing touch kind of thing. Guess while coloring this, I could take some time to remind people to subscribe for things like this. I can be random like this. I can randomly decide to just, why not do a Mother's Day thing? I mean, around Christmas I'm really busy. I love those. But yeah, I mean, I basically do all kinds of things. It's not always complicated, difficult colorings. I also like these pages or techniques that just make it easier on yourself. Like sometimes you just want to color. And I like the end result of this. I feel like in the end this is going to look pretty good. Especially considering, you know, I have been kind of rushing through. I mean, I imagine that after editing I would have been speeding up things, so I didn't really color that fast, but I don't think that this is the kind of page that you have to really step by step. I mean, I showed like one rose, and the other rose, of course I colored that the same way, sorta. So, you know, that'll be like explaining the same thing over and over. That just feels silly to me. But if you have been color along or just watching the process and you, well, like the video and the almost end result, you know, there is a like button. Feel free to click it. Now it's just upside down. Should have just started on that side, but oh well. But yeah, ignore me getting distracted. Like, subscribe, and share, and all that. Oh, and do comment. I mean, Mother's Day kind of just came up as an idea. So I figure I'll do that, but I don't know, maybe have other ideas. Like a suggestion of like another, well, upcoming holiday event or whatever. Preferably something that is like, well, a global thing, a universal thing. Like Mother's Day, I mean, that's why I colored it. You can use this as a birthday pic, but... So suggestions are very welcome too. But yeah, I think this is about it. I said it would be quick. I said it would be easy. No, I think this, I mean, it looks good. And I feel like it should be doable. So, I think it's done. Also, if you have been coloring along, there is the Facebook group. I would like to see how you colored it. I mean, even if you used other colors, that would be interesting too. I mean, roses don't have to be red. Maybe yours are blue, but do share them. Anyways, for now, I thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.